As long as somebody puts your hand up when it's time to vote. Right, the right way. Can everybody see the screen okay? I know it's a little bit small, but shout if you can't, or much closer. Right, welcome to our second year here at the windmill. Thank you for persevering, bring up with everything that's been going on. We've got two meetings on tonight. First one's the EGM. An extraordinary general meeting is just to approve the Constitution. The Constitution, when we started reading it, was a little bit weird. It had a requirement for us to stand down halfway through the AGM and have somebody else do the voting before everybody came in. It had a few spelling mistakes. I've never come across an honoree yet, with two E's at the end. Doesn't exist. So a few spelling mistakes and things. So I'll go through those, but if we can go through the EGM first, we'll approve the EGM or not. I don't know how you're thinking. We'll find out in a minute. And then we'll do the AGM proper. Right. So we'll get a report from myself, from the secretary, from Dave as treasurer. I will just do a quick run through of what we've done in the last year, so that Richard, our potential new member, can see what we've been up to. Right. Oh yes, and we have got some quite expensive projects on this year, potentially. So a little sale of antennas. Thank you very much, Jim, for coming up with some antennas to sell. That's cleared your cupboard out. Yeah, I've added one or two of mine as well. So we'll see. There's two already gone, so we're on the way. Right. So I declare this extraordinary general meeting open, and you can only change a constitution in an extraordinary general meeting. So I sent out, and I think Dave sent out as well, the notes to this and the new constitution, and I put on where it's changed as well. So if you've got any objections, let me read these through. Give us a shout and see. You've got one already. I've seen. You're right. It is G3BHJ. I will sort that out.
Shall I recommend immediate high amputation of the appropriately erroneous digit?
I'll leave it to you to finish in that case, because my mouse finger will not be working. Okay, some spelling correction. Honoree changed to honorary. We're using they rather than him, just to say, ladies are welcome, of course, and on the committee, and can be officers too. So I know him is generally used to represent a human being, but we'll make that a bit more explicit. We think our accounts are small enough that we don't need an auditor. I've got another club, it's a football club, and we did an audit the first time. The audit cost us almost £1,000 done by a proper accountant. The size of our accounts are really not big enough. Anybody can come and have a look and see what's going on. We don't have enough coming through. In fact, if we paid £1,000 a year, I think we'd be liquidated fairly shortly, wouldn't we? My thanks to Mark, G3BHJ. Mark, he's not here, thankfully, and he's volunteered to do ours this year. And I think, with a bit of luck, he might be okay to do it next year as well. We've closed the accounts a month before the AGM, and that's to give time to wrap everything up and for Mark to do his business as an independent examiner. The difference between independent examiner and accountant is an independent examiner can be somebody who has knowledge of accounts, who's done it for another club or another institution, but isn't necessarily qualified. And that's as much as we do for a football club that has something like £60,000 or £70,000 coming through. That's completely okay for a registered charity. Okay. The secretary's duties, I think was Dave was a little bit worried that we were going to get him to write up for every damn meeting that we had. So he's now looking after AGM, EGM, and committee meetings only. So hopefully you don't expect him to be writing what you're talking about in a normal meeting or social event. Now, keeping a register of members was done by a secretary before, but because everybody has to come to Dave to pay their dues, we think it's only appropriate that he gets on a little bit of extra work on that one. Hopefully, okay with you. Now, there's a paragraph in there that says we can only lose 2 committee members a year. And we thought, well, we can't stop committee members walking away. It really doesn't matter. You can see why it was put in, but you can't tell committee members not to walk away at the end of the year. And if they do, there's probably something wrong with the club anyway. Right, so we only now need 4 committee members to form a quorum. We've got people who actually work, believe it or not, on the committee, and everybody leads quite busy social lives as well. So we recommend that we go to just 4 committee members for a quorum, rather than having to go backwards and forwards to get people to agree what we're talking about to when we make decisions. The AGM had to be held on the 16th of August. Sorry, even January. And we can't do that every year, so we just said in the month of January is okay. We do believe. Hi, Vinny. Nice to see you. We have changed election of auditors to election of independent examiners. I'm not sure if Mark is coming in tonight. Do you know?
Don't know.
Okay, well, we shall see.
Depends on whether he's gigging or Bridget's health, etc.
All right. Well, we'll come to that later and see what's going on. Okay, and as I said, we've made it so that the committee does not have to stand down in the middle of the AGM and all that palaver, and somebody else takes the voting, and then they're voted back on again, possibly. So those are all the changes. Could I have a show of hands, please? Is everybody okay with making those changes? Yeah? Anybody against?
No, I've got one comment.
Yes?
Just one question about the independence examiner for the accounts.
Yes, Mike.
Was it plural or singular?
It could be either. One or two.
Accounts, it should really be singular.
Oh, okay.
That would be all I'd say. He wants an independence examiner.
I'm happy with that.
Yep.
Okay. Everybody on the committee?
Yep.
Yep.
All right. We shall have an independent examiner. Yeah. I mean, there should be a fine, upstanding person.
The key thing, they can't be a committee member.
Yeah. Any? Yeah. Oh, sorry. Yes, John.
Nothing personal, Al, but I think these days when volunteers are at a premium, against when organisations used to have a good membership and those turn of things, I think it's probably a bit harsh expecting you to serve no more than 2 years. You may not wish to, but I think to have that in the membership of the committee, you have to stand down.
That's true.
I don't think that's sensible.
I'm not sure I could afford more than 2 years at a go.
Well, you may well choose to stand down, but I think that given, as I say, volunteers are at a premium these days in any organisation. I know quite a lot of organisations have folded through lack of willing committee people. I just think that's could be made a bit more flexible.
Okay. Any other views on that?
I support it. It seems very pragmatic.
Yeah.
Keep it as it is. It could be on for a 3rd year.
I was
Yes.
previous clubs to be members of, you normally have an honorary president. And at the AGM, the honorary president would take over as the chairman, and then all the various posts be re-elected. And once the posts be re-elected, the honorary president just stands to one side again.
Yeah.
And it carries on.
It has happened. We don't have an honorary president. It's not in the constitution. In the clubs I've been a member of, the president sort of turns up once a year, you know. So
generally ex officio.
Yeah, we do have a vice chairman, who's Brian. I have.
That's just the way some people belong to it, don't it?
Yeah. It's not in the constitution, so I don't think it has to be.
In the past, from my personal experience, and Dave and several others will back me up, the Coventry Club went through this nonsense of having a returns officer, this, that, and the other. It got to the point, because of all the faff, we just made it that the current committee stand until the end of the AGM, and at that point, hence mitigating a handover period, the new committee then stand. And the issue about officers only having a short-term tenures to stop any sort of in-voting, to keep it a bit closed shop.
But it's one of these sort of older, more respected members of the club.
Yeah. As pointed out, though, due to the nature of life these days and that, you've got to roll with whatever works accordingly.
Okay, I think can I have a show of hands first? Are you happy with taking the requirement for chairman to stand down after 2 years? Is anybody for taking that out, please? 1, 2, 3.
You wouldn't stop me standing down, though.
No, it wouldn't stop me standing down. That's, I think, and who wants to keep that in?
You can put you're doing a good job on it now.
Right. I'll decide then. Okay, so we'll take that piece out. It shall be duly noted.
I've got one further thing.
Yeah.
And I've talked to David about this, and it's fine what Mark's doing it.
Yeah.
But should Mark not wish to do the independent exam, I think it's quite a tight deadline for when David does his books for somebody to look at, particularly over a Christmas period. And I just did surmise to David that why don't you just keep the end of December as it is, have the AGM in March or something. You probably get a few more turn up, with all that excellent turnout now. Just a thought. I'm not.
It's a possibility.
You know, just something to think about for next year, perhaps.
Is it okay that we take this out to the committee? We'll do another EGM next time. We've done it this time.
Yeah.
And we'll do it ahead of the next one. We'll see how it works out. Mark will report back on how easy or not it was to do that work.
Yeah.
We just wanted to close up like a month before to give him time to examine.
You could extend that to 6 weeks, possibly.
We could quite easily extend that if we needed to. Let us have a look at that, Dave. If you could note that down for the committee to look at.
This year?
Yeah, not a problem this year, but next year we could sort that
might
out.
Be all right next year, right?
Okay. What else did we have? What was the other thing? Is that my head going now? What have I missed? What was it yourself, Andy, you were saying? Did you have another point?
I did. It was mentioned about the plural on the examiners.
Oh yes, examiner should be a single.
I think it was brackets S.
Yes, it was brackets S. Do you want that changed?
It wasn't my point.
Oh, Mike's, yeah.
I don't think there should be any requirement to have more than one.
No, there isn't a requirement.
No, as long as that's it, then fine. Otherwise, it's wasting somebody's time. The accounts, we're talking about £1,000.
Yeah, exactly.
We're not talking about a multi-million-pound business.
Okay. Yeah, I'm with you that. It says examiner S. In extraordinary circumstances, you might go for another.
The minimum of one.
Yeah, minimum of one. I think we'd always go with one if we possibly could. Okie dokie. All right. I think otherwise we're all agreed. Is that correct? Have I got that right? That with the changes, is everybody okay with going ahead on the Constitution? Can I have a show of hands, please? Oh, I think that's fairly decisive. That'll do. Thank you. Right. Onwards and upwards. I declare this extraordinary general meeting closed. So now we're going to drag you through the AGM. Right. I think we've just had one apology for absence so far. That was Derek. I think he couldn't make it tonight. Am I correct?
That's the only one that's been officially received through the due process.
Yeah, thank you, Derek, for that. We'll go through. You've got the set of previous minutes. My apologies for that. It took me a while to write those. It took me a while before I could get to them. I do believe they're about right in terms of what went on at the last AGM. We didn't have any big kerfuffles or anything. Has everybody managed to have a quick read as to what we said at that, what happened at that AGM? It's on your sheet somewhere. Yeah? Do we agree to accept those minutes? Are we in a position that you're happy to vote on that? Arms up for those. Yes. Happy to accept the minutes. Thank you. Minutes are accepted. No, that's okay. That's okay. It's just we've got to have them in there, and the secretary at the time was in and out, and I don't think
more out than in,
and didn't actually write them off. So it was down to me. Okay, so chairman's report. Right, try not to keep it too dry. So, as you probably know, those members have been with us for some time. We changed committee in 2022. So last AGM we didn't change any committee members, and pretty much we've got the same ones as now. We did some polls and asked some questions about what you wanted out of the club. Basically, some more practical radio, please. There were talks, but there wasn't much soldering and stuff like that going on, and that's what people wanted, some practical hands-on stuff. I wanted a welcoming atmosphere, and a move back to Nuneaton, because at the time we were at Philongley, and Philongley is a fair old way for a lot of people, and the roads at this time of year get pretty frosty as well. There's a nice big hill taking you down there. And we talked about some areas for talks and activities, and I'll do the same tonight. We've got a set of things that we could do this year, and a set of things we've got lined up for this year, so I'll take you through those later. So hopefully you feel that we've actually moved on in the last year. We've done the right thing coming out to the windmill, and I would propose that, well, the windmill's been every bit as good to us as we hoped it would be. So if you've got any different feels about that, please shout up. But I will just take you through what I think we've done. So start of the year, we put the coax cables round the back of the building, put up a mast, put up 4 metre, 6 metre halos, and a vertical on top of the mast as well. We've got an 80 metre end-fed half wave. They're all coming out of that box in there. Anybody who's been around the last few months will know that's going on. We managed to also, some of us take down Peter's 40-foot mast, which was no simple matter, and one of the people with us bought it and took it away. Picture at the bottom right is our 2 halos, square reels. That was us at the AGM this time last year, up in the top left, and that was us underneath with Father Christmas at Christmas time. Thank you, Kev. Thank you for the samosas. So we've had a whole set of talks. AD came in to do his DXCC talk, all sorts of things. And what we do have now, and what we never were able to do before, was to have 2 meetings a month. We could have more if we needed, but first Mondays are social and operating nights. And to be honest, they're as well attended pretty much as the club nights on the third Fridays. I mean, they are enjoyable get-togethers, to be honest. Radios are brought out, but there is Jaffa cakes eaten and beer drunk. So I think they've done quite well. We'll have a chat about it later on if you think there's anything that could be improved. We had plenty of meetings and talks. I haven't put all the pictures down by any means, but there's plenty been going on this year. So a quick rundown of the talks that we have had. We've had Brian over there in the corner on UBIT boxes and the extensions. The COFAR NASA HF transmitting station, if I've got that right, or Brian versus the various centipedes and poisonous things out in Nigeria. Brian also looked after Kev Nicklin's Silent Key sale, and thank you for that. So, and some of it has come, it says and, sale and. Kev has a cup named after him for the best project in the year. So we had a very quick short start to a project competition for the club, something we need to develop over the next year or two. I've written quite a lot about the Morse night because there's plenty going on. Rather than having a talk, we just sat around the big table, and those that did Morse talked about how they did Morse and how they learnt it for the benefit of us, me and people like me who have not got our heads into it yet, which was a really, really good talk, a really good evening. Kev with his DIY hacksaw blade paddle, which made an appearance. Bill had a mini paddle project, which has got to get to the surface, I think, Bill, and I shall start working on that before too long. And Mark showed how to program people's radios using Chirp. AD with his DXCC talk, Mark on the radio interference service. I did a couple, one on the Nano VNA, how to use it practically, and then building 2040 meter NFED half wave, which had a few takers. Reg, thank you for the RAF in the Cold War. And Ian, who came just before Christmas, showed us about satellite working and how to do it practically. And did an introduction to us on getting on air on a budget to QO100. Now, he donated us not only an LMB to use in the satellite dish, but also came around to help us install it. So we do have a satellite dish in the corner now, ready to go. I lost one connector, which I've got to put on, and I'm not going out tonight to do it.
It was pretty much lined up.
No.
We did receive encouraging signals on my monitor.
We did. So over the next few weeks, we're going to have a down station, which is great. Activities, social and operating nights. Don't forget the Nuneaton and North Warwickshire Net on a Thursday night, starting 9:30 till as late as you want, basically. But people tend to go to bed around about 11 or just gone. We have a very small group doing UKAC contests. Now, we've not done too badly considering how many people we have and how many gaps there are in in how many we've done, but we came about halfway up. 20th out of 43rd overall on the 144 megahertz, and I think we're about 20th, 21st, something like that. About halfway again on the overall UKACs for local clubs. So I think we've done. There's ways of doing it more professionally. You could always do with some more people on that. So if anybody fancies it, whatever you can do. Doesn't have to be all those contests. Just one or two would be good. We've been to Bletchley Park and the National Computing Centre, not commuting. We've had a very interesting, a great social with the Staffordshire Portable Club. So Gary's team, other team, which was fantastic.
We're back at Church End again soon.
Sorry?
We're back at the Church End Brewery again soon.
Oh, right. Don't they go around to different places?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. They're
it's all booked in for there. And potentially Harsel Hayes.
Oh, okay.
Not done.
Yeah,
plenty of opportunities for joint ventures.
Yeah, but that's what they do. They are essentially a portable club, and find different places to go, which is great. And the camper vans and the cookers and the tents and all the rest of it to go with it. Carl has been out and about doing lots of SOTA. Thank you, Carl. You're paving the way on all that stuff. And POTA. We've been to the RSGB convention, not many, but a few. And we've had the Wooferton broadcasting station down at in Shropshire. That was a really, really interesting trip. That was great. The last shortwave broadcast transmitting station in the country, and still doing Voice of America and stuff like that. We've had a few field days, practical wireless 2 and 4 meter field days. I think we did okay on the 2 meter actually, John. I think we ended up that one, the 2 meter, actually turned out to be a nice day as well, and the 4 meter didn't. And you'll notice the mast. The mast has been out and about and active a few times, courtesy of John, who hung on to it for us for many years. It's come in very handy. Right. Are you moving on? Yes, you are. And that was the field day. Now, the other good thing about the windmill is that this land up here had been level just before we got there. Well, long enough before so that some of it looks green. There was a lot of muck on there as well, and we had a great weekend on HF. We did really well, I think, on that 13th out of 27. You know, for a start, it was very good. You'll see the mast on the left-hand side, our portable mast, trailer mast, and his military pole on the other side. But the windmill have been pretty good to us. There is our changing rooms over here. We got on really well with the Nuneaton Borough Football Club, who use the changing room. So we get access in there, and I'll have a key so we can plug in for power whenever we want as well. And they're levelling all this at the back to put a car park and playing surface on there, but they will allow us to go on there for our field days and weekend events where we want to, which is great. So you couldn't ask for better than that. We just pay membership. We pay nothing basically for the use of this room or the use of the field out there. We have an unspoken commitment to use the services of the bar. Put it that way.
Before
anyway.
you come on,
Yeah.
would it be possible when that field's done?
Yeah.
Like rugby, how they junk sail, you know, they're between the fields. Couldn't this club arrange to have one of those?
I think we could.
You know, have our rally, you know, our
Yeah.
radio
Yeah,
rally
yeah.
where you put the tables and
Yeah. Why not? It's
I think it'd be a good idea.
Yeah. I'll come on to that in a minute.
Okay.
I'll come on to that in a minute. Okay. So I'm sort of wrapping up now, but I have to say, thanks to everybody that's helped out and donated stuff this year. It's been absolutely brilliant. I've got a shack that's full of very good stuff that I can't, I can't bring everything every time, but they're starting to find uses, and we'll be developing the club as we go along. But Jim, for his 2 meter, 4 meter halos, thank you, Jim, and also most of those verticals that are sitting out there. So if anybody wants to buy on that, we've got a place for the money that comes in from that, and I'll talk to that in a minute. Andrew, for the club's dish, sitting now at the back on the mast, and Ian G7 III, member of the Commentary Club, he came round, donated his LMB and his time to put the antenna up, and Dave for the SDR. Peter donated us this mighty, I would say, TS940S, which is about I think I weighed it around about 28 kilos. It's just a little heavy for me to bring in every Friday, every third Friday, but a good trusty machine and an ATU as well. Lou, and we have a nice little oscilloscope there, numerous bits. Brian for the sale of Kev Nicklin's items, and then Kev's widow for donating the Kev Nicklin Club. Yes, Brian.
I've got a shed or a shack absolutely full of components. If anybody wants anything, I'll make a list of what's in there, and stuff you want: transistors, nuts, bolts, screws, capacitors, you name it, everything.
Fantastic.
If anybody wants it, then have it, and just put a donation in the box.
Okay, thank you very much. Is that a donation to you or to?
Well, I'll think about
it. Okay. I tried. Right, Reg, thank you for the ATU. A member of the motorcycle club just turned up one evening and brought a Yaesu 440S.
It's actually a Ken with TS440S.
TS440S. Oh, sorry, TS4, correct.
Slight alliteration.
Yeah. Worry not. And I said, could you use this? I know there are a few components broken, but basically it's sitting there, and nice thought. Kev, of course, for his fantastic samosas and pakoras. Thank you, Kev. It's not exhaustive. You know who you are, and there's plenty of people who set up, cleared away, done accounts, helped at field days, blah, blah, blah. And even the motorcycle club and the local CB people have been in and really interested in what we're doing, which is fantastic. I can't say. I think personally that it's worked really well this year, and I'm grateful to everybody who's made an effort to make it so. Finally, for this year, I just say congratulations to John over there. John has done such an enormous amount, from suggesting that we come up to the windmill, through to hanging on to the trailer mast, to antennas, to coax cables that go with them, and all the rest of it. That committee thought it was only right and fair that we should give him honorary life membership. So, John, thank you very much. I think we should put our hands together. Say thank you, John. Thank you, mate. I say, John's so well respected that the committee has put the money together for the award. So we thought that was a good test of whether he actually deserved it or not. We put money into our own hands into our own pockets. Okay, for the new year, we've got that dish up already in the corner of the building. We've got the who's donated stuff. The uplink will cost us a few £100. Trying to find cheap ways of doing it. We've got some funds, but we don't want to exhaust what we've got. With the membership money that we've asked for is like £10 each for our club, for insurance, running costs, whatever, and 15 before Christmas for the windmill. And that's just to make it just say that everybody can join. It's not, we're not asking for loads and loads of money to join the club. It's a club of enthusiasts, so we're not trying to make loads of money. But it would be, we do need to raise a bit of funding. One of those ways is to go to use the Nuneaton and Bedworth lottery. It's £1 a week. Half it comes to us. I put into it. I got 6 months worth of money back on the first time I went into it. So it was worthwhile. You do win on. You do get some money back on it. That's for sure. So as we're trying to get this stuff done, and the other projects as well, I'll talk about, then please consider that. Okay. And the good thing about SLQO100, it gives us like 24-hour access to the hemisphere, to this side of planet Earth, which is quite nice. It doesn't matter on the time we start. what the bands are doing. Right. So what can we do this year? One of the things that we've been talking about is getting remote access to our antennas. We've got some great antennas up here. The NFED 80-meter NFED half wave. Getting access to that nice and high up. Not everybody can do all the bands at home. We don't all have long gardens. We don't all have very kind neighbours either. So nice and high. And there's also a lot of QRM about these days. I know that Kevin will have real problems down where they are. So that will probably cost several £100 as well. So it's something to develop. It's not, we don't have to do it all now, but gradually edge towards that sort of thing. I hope you think that's worthwhile, just that everybody who comes into the club could get access to the bands if they wanted. We need to work out just how to do that, but I know Matt's been doing some work on that. If there's anybody with any experience of remote working, come and talk to us about it.
Just on that, it works surprisingly well. The software's free, and we can effectively make a login for each member. So you just log in on the internet, and you can use the radio as if you're in front of it. So we don't have to think about how that works, but just getting the radio that's the final hurdle, really. Yeah,
the ICOMs are quite good at that. We talk about the 7100 potentially. Okay, well, something to work on. We've got the National Field Days. VHF is 7th of July. The HF National Field Day is September.
It's not.
Is it not?
HF National Field Day is June. That field
day June. Okay.
June.
That's probably
that's the CW one. That's the HF National. You're doing the SSB Field Day.
I need SSB Field Day. You're correct.
Yeah.
You're correct. Please don't write that in your diary. I see everybody scribbling.
CW, it's always being picking at straws, but CW is National Field Day. That's June, first weekend in June.
Okay, well, it'll be the SSB one.
Yeah, SSB Field Day.
SSB. Okay, Bill has agreed to do a digital modes talk, and I know, Reg, that you're interested in maybe joining in on that one on FT8. John, I hope you're still okay maybe on doing Raynet. Yeah. The world is getting to be a more turbulent place, shall we say, than in previous times. And I've been talking to some other Raynet people who have said, look, we maybe ought to talk to the emergency officers, if you like, emergency project officers. It's a county job, not local.
So Steve Burrows, basically.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. Something to talk about before we get there. But if there's something that we can do as a club, in the case of times getting very hairy, and I know that I think it was yesterday one of the vice admirals has said there's going to be a war with Russia in the next 20 years. So I don't want any of that, but it could be something that we could maybe contribute to, and would be worth thinking about. Doing some advanced planning would help. Okay, trip to Newark National Handfest, that's on again this year. Carl was happy to come and do a spot, that's Carl Peake, do a spot on classic radios, what he regards as classic radios, and bring some examples, and also perhaps his products as well. You'll know his Wonder Wand stuff is very good on antennas. VHF and HF propagation tools, and my life as a sound engineer, I think, Jim, depends on us getting a decent Wi-Fi connection up here. We haven't got it yet, but it should be coming in the next few months now. And
Jim Bacon suggested doing this talk around the time that sporadic key is due to start.
Perfect. Perfect. So that will be late spring. Yeah. Okay. And Matt here has kindly said he'd show us about the use of aircraft tracking for DX contacts. It's used in contesting. I can't remember what's the piece of software. AirScout. Use of AirScout. So that's used by the Parallel Lines group. So I think quite handy to get some insights into the use of that. Okay. Now you also put down a whole set of things that you'd like to do this year. So some suggestions, and if you don't mind, I'll leave that till after we've finished. But I'll put out the sheet. I'll put out the same sheet that everybody else that people have scribbled on. Put your initials next to what you would like to support, but get an idea of what sort of support we have for some of these things. We won't do them all, but let's have a look and see what people want to do. A visit to BBC Sutton Coldfield, Jodrell Bank, Hatton Green, maybe even at the car boot sale there. A surplus car boot sale. I think that's a good possibility. Chippenham, Wiltshire surplus kit sale. Sota and Potter Days, Ensapool, Hartlepool Hayes, Other Peaks. Maybe Cole, that's what you might want to take that on our behalf and start pulling people together on it. Some sort of combined clubs local activity. It's been suggested, I think you said, Mick, or we talked about it. Let's have a social night here.
We've got the facilities here.
Absolutely.
We're all members of it.
Yeah, but we're here. Now, whether it'll be a dance or a karaoke, or we get a band in, or we do something during the day, like a radio activity elsewhere, and just come together in the evening.
Invite all the clubs.
Exactly. Invite all the local clubs in.
Yeah.
We've got to make it work, obviously, and
that's right.
maybe we get a little bit out of it ourselves for
barbecue, meet and greet type thing.
It could be various things we could do.
I'll run the raffle.
Spot on.
I'll run round with the raffle.
Spot on.
I'll make sure that.
Yeah. You're on.
I'm pretty good.
Nick, I had you down for doing this anyway.
I do talk people into party with them.
Yeah. I think that's what we need, but I think it'd be great to have get us together with the local clubs. It was a good night with the Staffordshire club. I think it would be super if we did something out there and just brought local clubs together. Okay. A mini. Yeah. Yes.
You're talking about inviting local clubs and local Staffordshire group. If you've got access to that field, then open it up to Camden, motorhomes, and whatever, so they can sleep there as well.
They might have to after our social night. Well, we'll see. Yeah, I mean, possibly it's going to be opened as a football field type of thing as well, but we'll get access. Good idea. Thanks, Vinny.
Biggest issue will be parking.
Yes.
A bit restrictive in that aspect.
We'll see how it goes.
They have counted it recently. The last year they've counted for some events.
I think they do. They do, and it works fine.
The bikers that meet here regularly have a camp and kip over. And festivals as well.
Yeah. Castles on the air, bunkers on the air, all possibilities. A combined. So I went to RAF Defford. It is actually a National Trust place. Croom, I think it is.
Croom Park. Yeah.
Croom Park. And Croom Park is by Gloucester, I think.
Yes, I know it is. Yes.
Yeah, and RAF. It's seated on RAF Defford, which was the place where they developed chaff. If you have heard of chaff, which is the radar blinding strips of aluminium they dropped in World War II to confuse enemy radar. They did submarine spotting from there. They did all the development stuff because they're quite nearby to the Malvern's Kinetic. It is now DEFRA, I think it was. So that whole airfield was devoted to electronic warfare, basically World War II and shortly after. So there's a little museum there run by the local radio club, and they've said, "Oh, come and visit us. We'll let you in the back door, right? So you don't have to pay National Trust rates if we're lucky, But if we combine that with a SOTA up at Malvern, which you can see from where you are there, and then then in the afternoon come down and have something to eat and have a little tour around the museum. That would work well as well. And then, as we talked about with John, an emergency radio network of sorts. What would we have to do? Is that something that is necessary? Okay, so those are the 3 bits. Has anybody got anything to raise on what's happened so far? Any concerns? Anything to chuck in? We'll do the what to do this year after the AGM, so we don't make this longer and more painful than it already is. Okay, we'll get on to the Secretary's report next. David, if there's anything to put across.
Right. A little bit difficult to follow that. Yeah, a little bit difficult to follow that. I was pretty much summed up where we were, where we are, and where we want to get to. I'm relatively new in the fold as regards being an officer of the committee. I endeavour to do the best I am able to, and to help you guys make the most of the hobby and the most of the club and the facilities they offer here, not just with the radio, but the social activities that the club offer, the sporting stuff, and the availability of the fields, and the rather useful height above sea level as well helps. And my only concerns, if we want to go big with stuff, is car parking and maybe some marshalling system whereby we can have people parking remotely and sort something of an alternative out for that. But all things come to those that put in the appropriate necessary work and such. And not a great deal to add really, as I said. I was pretty much covered most of it, put a lot of time and effort in, which you've all got to appreciate. We don't just turn up and do everything on the fly. We do a fair bit of prep. We overlook a few things. We're only human. We have faults and such, but we generally try and push well above and beyond. And sometimes we sort of trip over on the way, but we get there in the end, and hopefully everybody has a good time. And it's nice to see a well-attended meeting like this. AGMs, etc., are usually sort of, only going because I need to renew subs or such, or just got nothing better offer tonight. But glad you've all attended, to which I'm very thankful. That's about it really. So over to the Treasurer for the next phase of the proceedings.
Okay, I think you'll have to work. Would you like me to show it better?
If you can.
I think I probably could.
Good.
I'll have to do it in 2 bits. Right. Right, let's start with that. Okay.
Right. Financially, the club has a sound footing, for which we're grateful. Those of you that have got a copy of the sheet, my apologies for not printing more of them off. Right. Membership, as you can see, is fairly healthy. 20 members last year. At the time of closing the books, we'd got 19 for this year. I've since added further, is it 2 or 3? Outgoings, the website hosting is a little bit high. It was hosted by our previous chairman, and he decided he was going to up the charges because we didn't like him anymore, which was resulting in rather a hefty charge on that. Hopefully this year it will be a lot less. RSGB we can't do a lot about. Big expenditure was putting all the antennas up here, which was funded from previous memberships of the club. So financially this year we have a loss of £429, but we've got £856 carried forward to next year, plus a bit now because of sale of the antennas. On the income, the lottery is a significant part. £113 in the last 12 months. We'd like to make that a little bit more. If anybody wants to know anything about the lottery or how it works, come and see me after the meeting and I'll run through it. Any questions at all?
Yeah, well, just a comment.
Yep.
The website hosting was done by our previous chairman. We've now done a fair amount of work. We're actually hosting that elsewhere now, and we are now in control of the costs of that. So I think it's come down to, I can't remember how much it was now, £8 a month.
Something like that. It's £8 a month now.
So
Yeah.
we can cope with that.
Yeah.
190 is a little bit on the steep side. And, is most of our membership money, so
Yeah.
that's something we couldn't deal with. So yes, it was work, but we've pretty much reproduced the website, and we'll be putting stuff on there from the meetings as well.
Yep. Anything else?
So just one question.
Yeah.
Can I just have your views? We're actually running the whole place differently now, aren't we, from the previous year? Instead of having to pay for every individual use of a meeting room, right? So we charged so much a year, 20 whatever it was a year. Instead of doing that and then paying out a fair amount of money for every room that we booked, we now pay just a little bit more for the club. We pay not very much for the membership, and we get all the rooms for free. Okay, so the numbers look a little bit different to the year before. I know we've put a lot of money out there. I believe that putting the antennas up was quite a justifiable expense. I think it's done. It's really moved the club forward. If you disagree, shout. We need to know where you want to go to. But it looks different. But I think we're actually getting a much better deal. Two meetings a month. It feels to me like we're winning.
Yeah, well, just to amplify on that, last year the rental of the rooms for one meeting a month came to £204. So that's £204 we're saving by getting this for free, and we're getting 2 meetings a month out of it as well, plus the use of the field, which was a surplus charge, an extra charge on last year as well.
Will you raise the membership fee slightly?
Sorry?
Will you raise the membership fee slightly?
We could. If the members think we could raise the membership fees and they're willing to cough up a bit more, yeah.
You've got to make the motion of the meeting.
Key thing to remember is you're already paying effectively a double membership, because you need to be a member of the SSC as well as here, which in normal terms means it's £30 a year. But because they had the caveat that if you renewed before the end of last year, you got a £5 discount, so which is why you're only paying 25. So it would mean your overall annual membership would be £35 a year, which a lot of people in the current financial circumstance might find a little bit challenging, to say the least. I, for one, certainly would.
We are financially okay. There is no necessity at the moment to increase the membership.
Yeah, I think if we want to make a big project, then we have to go out and earn it, as
Yeah.
it were,
Yeah.
or those who can pay, have a bit of fun on the way and put £1 a week into the lottery or something.
Encourage
See
a
how
pound
it's
a
up,
week to the lottery.
Yep.
We get half of that, £50 a year coming in, and it really helps. Otherwise, I don't want to. If you're okay with it, I would say let's not stop people coming in. It's a nice low barrier to entry, and then we'll find other ways of funding. I don't want us to have to work hard to get extra money to do a few projects. I'm not looking for a rich club. I suspect you don't want a rich club, but you'd like one that does stuff.
Hopefully, it's just the one-off glitch with the excessive raising of web funding due to issues which is now being resolved.
Yes.
And we can move forward, having healed the hiatus.
Yeah, I think it's something perhaps that the committee ought to have a look at. If you feel there's a gap, come and talk to us. I don't feel uncomfortable with the amount of money. I prefer to have a club that's viable and allows people to get in, and we just do that little bit extra to get funding in to do stuff. Yeah, if you want some really expensive radio equipment, you better say now. It's not my project. Okay. Any other views? I mean, please say if you just
say it's the old school way. Pass the hat round if you want something.
Yeah.
Or some kind benefactor that could do it, or lottery funding, whichever, or match funding, etc. There's other avenues available, but I think at the moment, in light of where we've come from, that minor hiatus, which had a bit of a financial dent, we can overcome that and moving forward. I think.
Yeah. Can I?
Funds are adequate for the time being.
Yeah.
I don't think we have to vote or accept the
not
accounts
until the examiner's statement's been.
Okay. All right. Now, I think I've just removed the examiners. Let me just go backwards a little bit.
Yeah. In fact, I omitted that on the agenda. That should have come in as item 4A. I would hazard.
No worries.
Right. Excuse me. To get that up, what I did was to remove the examiner's note.
No, it's there.
Okay, and it is there. All right, and let's go up a little bit. Coming in. So Mark has had a look at the accounts. He got his 4 weeks in, and these were his words. And I have a witness as well, because he dictated them to me last night over the radio. I have examined the club accounts in detail, and I'm happy to recommend that the committee adopt the Treasurer's report, and I propose we thank him for his excellent work this year. Okay, thank you on behalf of us all. Okay, so this is the committee we've had up till now. Myself as chairman, Ryan in the corner there as vice chairman, and we do our vice together. We roughly every week we go for a pint and discuss where the club's going. Dave Beard as the treasurer, Mr. Stanley, secretary of I think about a month and a half standing. Ray has been examinations officer, and I really say thank you very much to Ray. You've been instrumental in getting a lot of us our call signs over the last 10 years or so. So I think we deserve a good round of applause there. Ray is standing down. Part of the reason is that people just don't take exams much anymore in the club environment. A lot of it is done online. So he didn't feel there was a need for that. But we could always do with another committee member. So if there's somebody that feels they'd like to help on the committee, please come and talk to us about it afterwards. I mean, we should have had, according to the Constitution, we should have come just put hands up and nominations before this meeting, but we can always co-opt somebody onto the committee. And basically, the more the merrier. We need differences of views, good ideas, people that want to do stuff. So if you feel you'd like to do that, come and have a chat afterwards. And there's Andy in the corner then, and we get together, and Matt over here, and we sit and puzzle over strategy in a very big way. And look at where we're going, and hopefully we've got it about right for you. Okay. Needs to be voted. We need to vote in the committee. Are there any objections, worries about the committee at the moment? No? Can I ask you to vote? Can we, everybody for the committee? Thank you. Anybody against? Thank God for that. Thank
Mark,
you.
Message from Mark Ryder.
Yeah.
Before you move on,
if
anybody else wants to be on the committee?
Yes, I did say, come
yeah.
and see me at, if anybody would like to,
I think Andy
sorry about that.
Mark did say that if nobody else wished to, he would be happy to continue as an examiner for
Thank you.
the accounts.
Okay, so just to make it clear, if anybody's interested in joining us on the committee, we meet once every 6 weeks or so, if that. Yeah, as little as possible, as many as necessary.
Yeah.
And that works okay for us. So if you'd like to join us, come and see me or any of the committee. If you want to know how it works and if you'd like to come on. And Mark has also said that if we would like another independent examiner, that he'd be happy to stand. And I think we have to vote in the independent examiner. Can I do that now? Is that okay for everybody? Are we? Can I have votes for accepting Mark Ryder as the independent examiner? Yeah. Mark, you've got another job.
I think that's carried unanimously.
I do have a query on the accounts.
Oh yeah.
It's not about the monies so much as the way it's laid out, because the expenditure for this year isn't £429. It's actually 600 something, because in there we've got the prepayments to next year. So that £190 prepayment should be shown separately at the bottom. So you've got
Understood.
It's supposed to be for the year.
Yeah.
So what we've got is next year's subs in here. As well.
Correct. And it would normally be done as a separate item on a normal.
What we've spent in this year,
Yeah.
you want that to not include the 100.
Yeah, it's not for this year. Can I propose then?
If I talk to you,
Okay. Yeah. You can go home, Mark. You're next year's examiner. You've just been waiting for us to get you in. Yes, I agree with you. On normal company accounts, you would do that. Does that make a big difference, David, on that? Can I suggest then?
It just shows that the expenditure in last year is higher than it's actually shown on here.
Correct.
Because we've got the 2024 subs in the 2023 year.
Yeah, you're right. The idea crossed my mind when I saw it, but I didn't think so. Maybe if we could just adjust those after the AGM to just. Is that okay?
Yep.
I think we should do that to make square up next year's account or this year's accounts coming.
Mortgage your future.
Yeah. Quite right. Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you, Mike. Right. So we've done the independent examiners. Too late, Mark. Whatever you're going to say.
Now, we're on any other business now. Nobody's put anything in for any other business? No? Good, because you're too late. If there is anything else, just come and have a chat afterwards. I think we should close down now. I think that is the AGM. Thank you, everybody, for being such a great club this year. I've really enjoyed the club this year. I know sometimes it feels more of a social club than a radio club, but there's nothing wrong with that at all. Works for me. So super. Right, I hereby declare this AGM closed. Thank you very much. You may drink.
Breathe.
Oh, I know what I haven't got.